Welcome to the Coliving with PadSplit Podcast, where we talk to successful PadSplit investors and have them share their secrets to success, not only in PadSplit, but in other facets of real estate. This podcast will help you expedite your learning to be a successful investor in the co-living space. We are your hosts, Ray and Orianna Nunez. Show us some love by subscribing and sharing so we can continue to bring on amazing guests. Guys, welcome to the Co-Living with PadSplit Podcast. We are your hosts, Ray and Orianna. We are so excited to share with you this episode. We are with a couple of friends of ours. They're a couple just like us. They work together, and we wanted to share their story, how they started in real estate, how they work together, what are their desires on a PadSplit, and how PadSplit changed their trajectory in their real estate investing business. We also talked about mindset and what motivates them. We are so excited to have you guys here. You are officially our first couple that do real estate and we have as guests. And it's valuable to us because we do the same. Yeah. Right? So we're really excited to have you both here and sharing with our audience and our guests what we do, what you guys do. Really, it's not about us, but more about you guys.
But shout out to you guys.
Yeah,
honestly,
definitely.
you two have been an inspiration for us, and really seeing what you guys have done with PadSplit. It was so easy for us to jump on because we'd been doing it by ourselves for so long.
You guys are brilliant. You guys are brave. You guys are amazing.
It was inspiring getting to know you guys and seeing someone already do it. It makes it so much easier for us to do it as well because we see it as a possibility and not just a dream.
Right.
So really, you guys made it easier for us to want to expand and buy more properties and continue to grow into this business.
And by the way, to that point, meeting you guys, and after that first Zoom call we had with you, it really, it literally sent us in a completely different direction. We were actually leaning more towards selling our properties.
We were.
I remember.
Because it was just so much.
It was
renting by the room for her. She would take care of everything. I would just be there for support, but regardless, it was a full-time job for her, and just taking, it's one thing to have 15 single-family homes and have to deal with 15
families.
Yeah,
but 15 people.
Mm-hmm, right.
But we had 2 homes dealing with 15 families, so it was our small investments were the work of 15 investments.
Right.
Yep.
So it was getting so overwhelming in the constant, I don't want to say issues because there's always issues, but the constant asking people when are you going to pay your rent, or just everyone having her cell phone number and dealing with interpersonal stuff. And it just seemed like it, and we didn't want her to have a full-time job.
Right, that was not the plan.
Right.
That's not the plan. It was a passive investment.
Became fully active.
So when we met you, it became an opportunity for us to say, wow, okay, because we thought it we could have gotten a property manager before, but it just felt like who is going to manage
that
even
many finding
people?
A property management company that would do room rentals. I tried looking that up and I couldn't find anything. Right. And I was telling Joey on our way here, I'm like, you know what? I think the best ad I clicked on was that PadSplit ad on Instagram. I think it was on Instagram. I saw it, and then I scheduled a meeting with you guys. And I'm like, there's just so many links that you get and so many ads. And I'm like, you know what? I'm so glad I clicked on it because it really made our life easier, and it allowed us to expand. So I guess we can start by saying to
shout out to them. That was the whole point, was literally meeting you guys. It literally sent our investment portfolio. Literally, we probably wouldn't own houses right now. Yeah. We probably would have sold because we
were right on the edge. It was really meant to be because we were on the edge. Is it worth it having going through all of the struggle with managing so many people within a property. And we were wondering if it really was worth it, the time spent on properties and dealing with, little or big issues. And we were really doubting it, like, might not be the best idea. And the legality of it, too. It was a worry in the back of my head constantly, not knowing, like, is this, like, right? Like, are we good, legally speaking? And then learning about PadSplit and understanding how they make everything so much legal. And how so much easier it is to deal with like the day-by-day issues that could come across, and having the support in so many different ways, and even the payments, like not having to call a tenant and ask them to pay, which I did in the past.
That's so big.
It's heavy.
Not having to do any of that. It's just honestly so much better.
Yeah. And now we just closed on our 4th PadSplit.
Wow, you guys.
Yesterday.
Congratulations. So I didn't know it was a closing for you.
I didn't want to tell you over.
I thought it was just like a regular closing, and I'm like, congratulations.
I didn't piece it together. I know you had a closing, but he told me that it was their property, but he didn't say the closing was their property, so I never put it slow moment. So.
Wait, let's rewind a little.
Yeah.
Okay.
How did you start in real estate?
Because you guys, you're a realtor.
Yes.
Just to get out of the way,
Yeah.
you're not a realtor.
No.
And when we met you, you guys were doing co-living. So what came first, the chicken or the egg?
So, well, I first wasn't a realtor. I first bought my home in 2015 in Orlando. And at the time I was single. I had a 3-bedroom home, and I was like, hey, I have some coworkers that need a room. They were begging me to rent them a room, and I'm like, why not? So suddenly my bills were getting paid by my roommates, and
it's a good feeling.
It was a great feeling. And then after that, we met and we decided to buy a new home for both of us to live in. And I considered selling my current home, but then we took a step back and we started taking notes and looking at the numbers, and we're like, there's no need to sell this when it's paying itself.
Yep.
Let's just let the roommate stay, let the house pay itself, and we'll move on. So as we do that, we realize, it's not just paying itself, it's making us money.
You left to the new home, and then you rented the other room.
Correct.
Did you know you were house hacking, technically? You were just...
I did not know. I wasn't a realtor at the time. I was just hacking life, making things work.
You didn't know you were an investor.
We didn't.
We did not know at all.
And we weren't, honestly. It wasn't in the back of our head. And the whole reason we really got into that first house that we started renting by the room, we moved out of it. I have 2 kids. Now we have 2 kids because we're married. But we needed something bigger.
Right.
We wanted to start our own thing.
Right.
And the whole reason, not the whole reason, financially, obviously, money is going to be a big motivator. If it's not making money, we would have sold it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't want it to sound like that. But a huge motivator for her especially was she saw the opportunity to help people. Yeah. And there were people that worked with her. Mm-hmm. There were people that were close to her. And it just kind of got those juices flowing of being able, like, who else is out there that might need a room that can't afford a house on their own, and it could be a stepping stone to something better in their life. And that was her whole thing, is how can I make money but also be able to help people. And then that's when we started, okay, like, I don't remember, was it like 4 or 5 rooms at the time?
Jen, I want to ask you, what were your coworkers doing?
Well, I used to work at a restaurant, so they were all servers, bartenders.
There it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and then in that industry, there's so many people that ended up renting. And again, I look at it as a stepping stone, like, you're building up, for your goals and whatever you have coming up in life. I actually have another realtor friend that she had, and this is where I look back and I'm like, wow, this is so helpful in so many different ways. She had a client that needed to close in a home, but he didn't have a place to live for a whole month. So he needed a place. He didn't want a long-term lease because he's about to close in a home. So he ended up moving into a PadSplit. So I can, I see all the potential that PadSplit had, not just in, a day-by-day situation, but, in general, like, you can have different needs and it can be a solution. Bless you.
Thank you.
But that's what we started looking at. Is like once we were done helping the people close to us, it became like, what's missing in this market? Like, you have people that need places to go and have nowhere to go because they can't afford it, and they don't want to sign a long lease. So we started looking like, okay, like, how can we help? Because the biggest thing was coming up with last month security deposit.
It's hard.
And we were like, you know what? Let's not even do that. We charge half a month rent for security deposit. Okay. So super low to move in with us. And looking back now, we should have done background checks, income verification, but we were just kind of winging it. And we were like, you know what? We do interviews, we meet the person, we see what kind of person they are, and we'll make the decision and go from there. A lot of bad stories came out of that.
And a lot of good ones.
And a lot of good ones. But it was enough for us to keep going. So we moved and we bought a house for us. But immediately 3 months after that, we bought another investment property. Specifically because of the first one that we just moved out of was working so well.
You guys were pumping these. You guys were like, we're not stopping.
Yeah. And it may have been 6 months.
I feel like it was pretty quick. Probably
it was quick.
From 3 to 6 months, we were already.
But again, we didn't do any investment deals. That was all foreign to us. We didn't even know what that was. So we were just like,
this feels good.
Yeah.
That's doing well.
That's crazy in all the good ways.
Right. So
I think a lot of people that are doing real estate don't know that they're investing and they're investors.
Right.
Right. And they accidentally kind of fall into it. And
it is. It's a perfect way to describe us, is accidentally becoming investors.
Right. Pretty much. I know on 2020 is when we bought the second. No, 2020 or 2021.
It was 2020 because the interest rates were insanely low.
Right. And that's when I got my real estate license. Okay. I can't stand still. Like, I'm always doing something. So
what motivated you to get your license?
I mean, I feel when I bought my first home, my agent kept telling me, you should get your license. I think you will be really good. And
agents are constantly recruiting.
He wanted to be my mentor, and I didn't do it. Unfortunately, at that time, I don't know why, but later on, I was like, you know what? Maybe maybe I should try this. So I did get my license.
Tell the story, because I think it's important, about when you bought your first house and how.
So when
you were young, right?
Yeah. So when
you're still young. Not that you're not like younger.
Yes. So 2013, I actually came to Florida already with a goal in mind, and that was it. To buy a house, an American dream.
Yeah.
And I had that already set in stone, and I talked to a lender. She told me, you need to do this, and that. And 2 years it took me to get everything done. So I got a realtor
2 years of pay stub.
Yeah.
2 years of
2 years of pay stub, 2 years.
Good tax, bracket, all that.
Yeah. So I did all my homework ahead, and then I was in the search for the home. I found a realtor online, didn't really do much research. And he did his job. I just wish there was more communication. I think there's sometimes disconnection between the client and the realtor, where the realtor may be making an assumption that they're not going to get it, they're not going to understand, and they don't take the time to explain certain things. So when I was buying, I felt lost, and I felt like
not guided, correct?
Not
That's
guided,
exactly what
I felt like misled, and it almost felt like him was telling me, you're not going to be able to do. And I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, I got everything ready. So again, I just felt a little lost, and that to me, and it was funny because he was the one that wanted to mentor me. So, and maybe that's why I didn't do it right away.
Makes sense.
But later on, I was like, you know what? I wish I had someone that would actually take me by the hand and explain things to me better. And I want to be that person for my clients. And it was really a motivation for me and understanding, because again, like when I came in 2 years before, I had one person tell me exactly what to do, and I followed the rules. I did everything. So I know there's people out there that they just don't have the information. They have the potential, they have the wants, but they just don't have the information, and they don't have that person that's willing to inform and guide.
Right.
And that's really why I got my license. Yeah. It wasn't even for our investments. I got it because I wanted to help people. But
so you've both always been very driven to just add value to others and help others.
Yeah.
And I think
she's
me.
rubbed off on me.
I was gonna say that's contagious.
When we met, I was completely the opposite way.
Yeah.
I was very like, what can we do? Not so much in a negative way, but
it just wasn't a priority.
I've always been so worried about like take care of
your own
me and our family, and before I'm gonna go help somebody else.
Yeah.
But meeting her and I think we have a good balance, because there is a ton of value in helping other people along the way, and I don't know where I was going. I mean,
he rubbed on me too a little, in the sense of because now I understand it's great to help people, but you have to help people that want the help. Yeah. And not just want the help, but they want to grow. Because I learned that, I have helped people that they are just taking advantage, and they're not there to learn and grow with you. And it ends up, unfortunately, being a waste of my time. And I'm like, oh my God, I could have been helping this other person that they're really motivated. They're really, trying to grow. And I honestly think it's best for me to invest my time helping people that want to grow and want to achieve.
We relate with that so hard.
Yeah.
So it's been a learning experience, and we bounce off each other. And I feel like that's the good thing about him, because I'm like, man, I have helped so many people that are like, I'm glad I still help, but I wish I would have invested my time maybe in some other person that would have appreciated it. Or myself, yeah.
We agree.
Yeah.
We've been there.
We relate, and I relate because she rubbed off on me.
Yeah.
She's the giver, definitely motivation, the wanting to always provide. And I think I got into investment real estate out of necessity to get financially clear.
Yeah.
And then it turned into ultimately, like, the more you give, it turns into positive reciprocal energy that you're given, but then you're also some point not looking for, but you do receive because you give.
I think for me, it just feels so purposeful to just give.
Yeah.
It's so internally fulfilling for me, right? It might not be the same for everybody. But it just feels good to give it back when you see those results and those people that are doing and taking the action and doing the right things to help themselves. Right. So that is the most rewarding thing for me.
Yeah, I agree. It's like a selfish way to be unselfish.
Yeah.
It's like an unselfish back scratch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got into it out of serendipity is the word that I'll use. And you ended up having your personal house plus 2 more.
Right.
So you had 2 co-living properties.
Correct. Right. Unintentional co-living properties that you were screening people by doing. And I remember this, and it wasn't until you just said it that you reminded me, but you guys were doing like entry interviews into the properties.
Yeah.
And then made decisions. And then some people, your coworkers, moved out. Then other people started to move in. And then that's where it kind of got a little bit different.
Yeah.
How far along did you get into it that you then bumped into PadSplit? Was it at 2 properties or was it 3 properties?
It was at 2 properties.
It was between, it was at 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we were buying a house. we were in the process. When we met you guys, we actually were...
The other personal house.
We were closed on the housewarming you guys went to. And we bought that house out of necessity for our business because we needed something a lot bigger than what we had.
Yeah, you outgrew your house.
Yeah, but also we did see that house as an investment at the same time. I wouldn't call it our dream house.
The recent one.
It's a really nice house.
We love the house. We can see ourselves there for 5 to 10 years.
We'll see, because we keep saying, this is it, and then something will move
I
on.
think
it's good growth.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know if we'll ever land in a dream. Maybe things will change.
Build it.
I feel like, personality change. When I met him, it's funny. My dream home was a tiny home on wheels.
Oh my god!
All I wanted.
That was a.
Oh my god! I was so obsessed. I looked at all the videos.
Yes.
Oh my god! I just wanted a truck so I can howl my tiny house. I was like, I'll just let my roommate
nothing
stay
is holding me back.
You know what helped? You know what really helped? Because it wasn't like an argument between us, but I was always the opposite. I'm like, tiny house, hell no. We'll put a tiny house in the backyard of my
our big house. Yeah.
That's what you'll get.
That's funny.
But what helped her kind of calm down to that is we started camping with my family, and she started to see the real work that actually goes into that lifestyle.
Yes.
And it was like,
good.
Where do you go to the bathroom?
I mean,
it would have been fun,
Yeah.
probably, to experience it, but I think I'm good.
Yeah.
But still, for a long time, I was more like a minimalistic style. I don't want anything too big. Now we're in a big house, but what I'm trying to say is, like, we'll see where everything takes us, because we can always, everybody adjusts.
There's seasons to life too.
Right.
I understand it.
We are also very fond of change and keeping things exciting, and
love that.
I don't remember it may have been on a Rogan podcast that I had you listen. He was talking about how when he first got famous, when he first got like his big deal, he moved in to a big house from nothing, and it was like so exciting. It was a big house, had a pool table, and everything was great. And then after a while, it just becomes your home. It just becomes like, whether it's a small house or your dream house, at the end of the day, like, the newness wears off, and it just becomes your home after that. And you really got to find other things that are going to fulfill you that isn't like that, And I think that's really, again, where our drive comes from is obviously we want to set ourselves up financially, but there's something behind helping. There's something behind, and PadSplit has allowed us to do a lot of that, but she's still got an itch for other stuff. She's still like,
I think naturally
we gotta do more. We gotta go help the homeless. We gotta like,
I don't know. There's something missing, but we'll get there.
That's your purpose.
Yeah.
You're needed satisfying that why. Yeah. I get that. Yeah. You'll find it. But you're already contributing so much.
Yeah.
Right? How do you guys work together?
Great.
Honestly,
like what is it? How does it look like? What's your balance?
It's funny. He is the analytical part. I am I would say maybe action part. I'm like, just a random example will be building a IKEA furniture. I'm already putting the pieces together. He's reading the instructions. But I found out that it is perfect because sometimes I should be reading the instructions and sometimes he should just do it. So we meet right in the middle where a lot of things is like, okay, I went for it, didn't analyze it, and then he comes in like, Jen, let's look at the numbers. Let's figure this out. And we find ourselves in the place where it's like, okay, this works. This is perfect because we both have like,
it's a perfect middle
it really is.
Well, you can't have one without the other because the analytical overthinks,
and
might not take a lot of action.
Yeah, and I don't.
And the overaction taker, the doer, then might make a lot of mistakes because didn't
absolutely,
educate or read or kind of
and
prevented a couple of things.
And that's where a lot of my personal growth has come from, that she's helped me with, is before I was zero action. I was like, I thought I had to know everything there is to know about everything before I would jump into anything. And especially like with investing, I think you kind of, what I've learned, you kind of have to, because you're not going to know everything. Especially like even with this house we closed on yesterday, like I have to be okay with knowing that we pick the right people to work with, and they're doing their jobs, and they are handling everything behind the scenes, versus me trying to go and do their job for them and figure out every single detail and every single number that's going to make sense. And even at the closing table yesterday, I'm like, I know what this loan entails, but I don't. Like, at the end of the day, like, I know the high level numbers, but I don't know all the intricacies of it. And it's okay. And I have to be okay with that.
And it's okay that you don't.
Because if I wasn't, I would be on my computer right now, like, giving myself a crash course in lending and everything
underwriting
financial.
lingo.
And that's not action, and she's action. And that's exactly where we meet in the middle. And it's so important to have that. I think and especially a lot of people like that I've come across and I've met, and people always like, once you start having a little bit of success, people have questions. And that's probably the main thing that I typically tell people is just do it. Like, just trust yourself, trust your gut. You know you're making the best decision for you with the knowledge that you have, and go for it. Because even if you failed, you're going to learn through that.
You did not fail because you gained so much knowledge.
And that's the thing. And that's really how we've approached this first investment deal that we were doing, is like, we know it's not going to be a home run. We've accepted it. We know even now there's going to be some stuff like, we messed up, but we don't even know that right now. But at the end of this project, we're going to have so much more information into the next one. I think that's really probably where everybody starts, but it's so scary. And it's so hard to just take that leap and take that first step. And that would be my advice to anyone is you know yourself, do your own due diligence, do what you're comfortable with, and just go for it. Because I always tell Jen, she bought that house in Orlando, her first house in, what was it, 2013?
2015.
2015. We met 2017. Yeah, 18. And had we have just gone for it in the beginning, we'd be millionaires several times over, because of, like, we always look back and like, oh my gosh, like, what did we buy that house for? And what I try to remind myself is, like, you don't know if we're in that time right now. Like,
I love that. I love that mindset. And we were just having a conversation with one of our friends, and he's like, damn it, I wish I would have known you guys sooner. All the properties I had. And I was like, don't do that. Don't think on what you could have, because you're taking that action for the future.
Absolutely.
And what matters is here for the future.
And
so we think about it all the time. We're like, shit, how many deals? That was a great property. And I'm like, but we can't do that, because that's not, we can't bring that back.
You can.
But what we can do is take action for the future. So you're right. What if those 8 years ago is today, 8 years later?
Exactly.
And historically, isn't it going to be?
Yeah.
Because inflation alone.
Yeah.
I mean, we're gonna gain equity almost 100%, like, guaranteed. If you hold something long enough, it's gonna appreciate. And that's what we love about investing in houses. And that's really what we kind of have to take a step back a lot of times too, is like, we're in it for the long term, but we still have too much short-term investment in our brains, and we have to get rid of that a lot of times and say, you know what, like, yes, this is costing a bit right now, but just thinking of like the immediate equity that we'll get.
Well, real estate is
plus over the long term. Like,
right.
what is it going to build having someone else paying your mortgage?
Right.
That's right.
Yep.
Real estate wealth is not built overnight.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, it's a long-term game.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a run, it's not a sprint.
Yeah.
And sometimes we want to see that instant gratification because it's kind of like the era that we're in, that everything is like now, right? But yeah, just stay in that mindset, honestly. We also remind ourselves all the time, we're like, we're doing this for our kids and our grandkids and even our parents, right? This is obviously something that we're so invested in, but it's bigger than just us. It's bigger than the immediate day-to-day for us. It's like what impact we're causing for the people around us through generations.
Right.
So I don't know how that answered your question, but
no,
we
that
work
was
well.
beautiful.
We work well
That was
together.
beautiful.
We do.
Yeah, just
It's a
keeping
good
a
balance.
balance, honestly. And communication is huge for us. And it was funny. Share that thing that you.
So I,
You know
because
what
I don't know. I think I have a high functioning anxiety. I need to be doing something constantly. Otherwise I go crazy. But I'm looking at how can I improve myself, my time management, blah, blah, blah. So I'm looking at this book. It's a 12-week year. And I'm trying to set my new goals. Like, what do I want to do? And then I'm looking at like some of the ideas they give you in the whole, like in the book. And then it's like, if you want to improve your relationship, like, you can write here, like, what are your goals in your personal relationship or, professional, whatever. So I'm like writing all of my goals, all of it. And then
I already know, Jen.
when I go,
I already see her using different colors and like.
So when I go to write
we're similar.
When I go to write
we're similar.
Yeah.
That's why I say it real quiet.
Yeah, same.
I'm like,
It's like you tell the story because I'll butcher it anyway. But
so when I go look at the relationship part, I'm like, man, I don't know what I want to improve. So I go to ChatGPT. I'm like, what can I improve? Like, just give me a list of stuff to improve in a relationship. And then it gives me a list. And I'm reading it, and I'm like, I feel like all of these are good already. There has to be something we need to improve. So I'm telling Joey, I'm like, okay, I can't remember the list.
Yeah.
But I remember it was like communication. I'm like, we're good at that. And whatever the rest of the list, I can't remember. But I was like, we're really good. I think we're doing good. So
the point is, ChatGPT gave her a whole list of stuff, and it was like, okay, we're good on that. How about now? We're good on that. We're good on that. Good on that. Good on that. And it was like, are we perfect for each other?
maybe we are.
That's cute.
did we just become perfect?
Yeah. Okay.
But
Maybe we're in the wrong business.
I
Let's
love
start getting
it.
relationship advice.
I love it.
But it was really actually exciting because sometimes you take for granted certain things.
You too.
And it's nice to look back and realize like, oh wow, like, we're in this position and we have a healthy relationship and we are growing our business and we get excited about this same stuff together. I mean, he gets excited about sports and I don't, but I'm supportive.
But outside of the business.
Other than that,
outside of the
but
business.
we do get excited about same things and we bounce off each other. So honestly, I'm very excited and happy that we're together.
So beautiful that you guys have that relationship. We find kind of like a very divided crowd with working with your spouse.
Yeah.
You get the I would never. I could never. How do you guys? Or it's the best thing ever.
Right.
Right. So it's beautiful. I'm so happy for you guys.
Yeah.
Continue to nurture it. Continue to, appreciate it and value it. It's beautiful when you're able to do that. But it takes a lot of inner work.
Yeah.
Like you can't be good for each other if you're not good for yourself.
Yeah.
That is true.
So it always comes to oneself.
Yeah.
It really comes to one. Because you commit and you compromise on a lot when you're with someone else.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you're losing yourself. You're just now being mindful of that other person as well.
And to be fair, it wasn't perfect from the beginning.
It should
Right.
never be.
We-
like it should
we went through a lot of disagreements. We went through a lot of fights, a lot of learning each other to get to this point. Yeah. And now we kind of just know when to back off, when to be open and honest and say, like, this is how I'm feeling. We got to talk about it because holding it inside is only going to make it worse. And especially for her. She did this thing where she would just ignore, and it would build up and then you're explode.
Like,
and I'm like,
where did that came from?
What is happening? I feel attacked.
Yeah. I just opened the fridge. I don't know what I did. I'm just looking for a snack. And
how dare you?
We're just here to hydrate.
That's the way you open that door.
Yeah, it was the way I did it.
Yeah, wrong.
So you guys obviously work super well together. How does that translate to how you guys look at properties and also either analyze properties? Who does the analyzing? Who does the finding? Who initiates a decision on something moving forward? And then the day-to-day. You guys self-manage or you guys use property management?
Self-manage.
Yeah.
Okay, so then how do you self-split those duties as a couple?
There's a lot of questions in there.
Yeah.
A lot to unpack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the before and after PadSplit, the managing before, it was, like we said already, it was a lot of work, but let's jump into the now. Now with PadSplit, it's so much easier. We do everything is done through the platform, and all the tickets that we get are pretty much maintenance tickets. Joey's great he used to be a manager, so he's great at managing and communicating. And so he pretty much takes care of responding all the tickets.
Okay.
Again, I'm more hands-on, so I do more of, I'll stop by the house and fix that. Or, I'll turn the room, I'll get it clean. If something needs to get scheduled, I can make the phone call. So we kind of divided it kind of like that, I would say. Although sometimes I'll jump in and do the responses of the tickets. Sometimes he'll jump in. So we kind of manage it like that, together, but individually.
Yeah, I mean, that. But as far as searching for a property, the whole PadSplit thing, we kind of just go back and forth, and we kind of both see tickets, and we'll respond to stuff, and we'll go fix stuff depending on what it is, really. Or we have a couple people that we use,
like a maintenance team that, oh my God, is so helpful.
Yeah.
Seriously.
But as far as analyzing a property or looking for a property, she's a realtor. I'm not even going to go into that. She finds all the potential deals. Yeah. She tells me hey, we're going to see this house. And then as far as when we show up and look at a property, we kind of both put our brains together and say it has to check all of our boxes, and whether I'm doing that or she's doing that, kind of doesn't matter who. Yeah. But we do have a list of must-haves. Obviously, you guys can probably relate. And then once we go in and we say, okay, this property does check all of our boxes, because it can have almost everything, and if one thing's off, then we're moving on. Primary example, it can be a perfect layout, bedroom here, perfect for PadSplit, checks all the boxes, but there's not enough parking. There's nothing we can do about that. Right. Unless we're adding driveway space, which
it's costly
potentially, but I don't know. Yeah. But so we'll go in and we'll do, if it checks all the boxes, and then we'll just start calculating everything, going backwards. How much revenue can it bring in? How many bedrooms can we get out of this? What can we charge? Yeah. She'll go and look at the area and figure out comps and what other people, we do use PadSplit a lot for seeing what other people are charging on the platform in the area. So yeah, I mean, as far as all that, I don't think we have specific roles, honestly. We just kind of...
You both do all, like, a little bit of everything
together. We pretty
much
both do everything. I would say if we had to pick, she probably leaves all, like, the financial stuff to me, of, like, running all the numbers and figuring all that out. And I'll leave, like, the searching and finding properties and all, like, the detailed stuff to her.
But it's still a mutual decision, ultimately.
It is, yeah. But, like, even like we closed on a property yesterday, like she's on the phone this morning, like connecting the power, connecting the water, internet, all that. And that didn't even cross my mind, but it's like, oh shit, we do have to do that. Like we're going to start renovating early next week. So like she really takes care of all that aspect of stuff. I have this thing where I hate calling people. I hate being on hold. I hate like talking to one person who's going to send me to 5 other people. She has that patience all day.
I mean, you don't got an option. Someone's got to do it. And someone's got to do it.
And honestly, to that aspect, like she's super patient. Like I think that's really what gets her. Like that fulfills her. Is finding like great deals and stuff. And
I love that.
And
I love that.
And getting things done and having a checklist and checking everything off, and that's her all day. So yeah, I mean, we a lot of it is together, but we have small roles. Kind of, we try and just gravitate towards different stuff.
Do you guys have crazy variant differences in views when you walk into a property? Like, I'll give you an example. I am cool with big rooms. I know the strategy behind big rooms. They you charge more, longer tenure, blah, blah. Like, I pitch it all day. But
we pitch it, but sometimes don't apply it.
But then I also understand that you could create a small room to add an additional room in a house.
Right.
There's its positives. Like we know by adding more rooms potentially, you have better probability of making X amount of money.
Right.
But there's also the risk of that small room might be your pain in the ass room that now is going to have more tickets. It's going to have like shorter tenure. So there's a negative potential there. I might on occasion try to do more rooms, but not make tiny rooms, but still more rooms.
Yeah.
And Orianna walks in and she's like, I might see 8, she might see 6.
Yeah.
And then mind you, we'll collaborate, we'll talk things through. It's not like my way, her way, but we definitely do have 2 different views. Are you guys usually walking in going, yep, same thing? Or no, I see this and let's talk it through?
I don't think there's much. Like for us, in your example, we would both be 8 rooms all day.
Yeah.
I think we both love maximizing the space and the earnings potential.
Especially, before we had PadSplit, we had common areas like living room, dining room, and we didn't know the potential of converting it into a bedroom and how it alleviates so many issues in the property. So now we see a house and I think our mind goes to the same direction. Like this is going to be a room.
That living room.
Yeah.
Honestly. Yeah.
So what's the specs on this new house? It's originally how?
Originally a 3.2.
And it's going to be?
A 7.3.
Okay.
It's 1,400 square feet.
Okay.
And so what we loved about it, and talking about checking all the boxes, it is a corner lot. There's 15 parking spaces. So that right there was like, okay, we walked up. We were
deal
like,
maker.
I mean, so far so good. Like it even gets to a point like we've walked up to properties and we've left before even going inside because we're like, there's no reason to even waste our time because there's no parking. Yeah,
I do have a quick question to interject. In your other 2 houses, you have how many rooms in each, and then how many cars do you have in each?
Yeah. So let's see. Coco's is
7.
6.
Well, 6, and there's a studio in the back.
7.
And then how many cars are in that house? Do you remember?
I don't know.
That's a thing that we've always made sure there's enough parking, like 1 for every room. Like that's our.
You want to provide all the parking.
We're not, and if if we look and it's like we can get 8 bedrooms out of here, but there's only 6 spots, we'll move on to another property because we don't want to limit ourselves to finding someone who doesn't have a car.
Yeah, of course.
Because like for me, side note, like I'm huge obviously on occupancy. But I don't like having a room empty more than a few days. Like when it's a few days listed, I'm going to drop the price already. Because for me, once you start running those numbers in your head, it's like, okay, if I want $199, but I'm not getting it, a week has already passed. That's $200 that I didn't make in that 1 week. And now it's like, start looking over like a 6 to 9 month tenure. You're like, okay, I already missed a week. Now, even if I get $199, I'm really getting $193.
There's a cost for loss,
you know. And for me, it's like I am all about keeping the rooms occupied, and our thing now is what we recently started seeing is how like people moving out of our properties quicker than what we want. And we're really getting to the point where it's like we stuck with the basics. Most of our rooms are very basic, like mirror, art, bed, nightstands. And we just started thinking is like, if we lived here, what would we want?
Right.
You know, and I think that's where we're going to pivot to now. We have 20 rooms, so it's not like we have 100 and we have to buy 100 TVs and 100 mini fridges. So we'd rather just do it now.
Yeah. And I think it's like, you know, what I like about real estate too, there's always something new and there's always room for improvement. And now we're looking at this like, okay, I mean, we have all the rooms full right now, but now our intentions change. Before it was like, let's fill the rooms. Yeah. Now it's like, let's keep our tenants. Like, let's keep them longer. We want them to stay. I mean, obviously I'll be happy when they move out to, you know, their new home or whatever.
And what do we need to do to keep them longer?
Yeah.
Right.
In fairness though, we were hesitant because we listed one property with you guys just to try it out, see how it went.
I know. You guys are still on the fence.
We were on the fence 100% because we're like, we throw all of our eggs into this PadSplit basket. What if it doesn't work out?
Yeah.
So we listed one property.
So then Joey was like, just do it.
Yeah. We went bare essentials for every room because we were already looking at like the cost it took to convert.
Yeah.
We were already renting by the room, but we weren't PadSplit renting by the room.
Correct.
We had a house in Orlando that was a 5-bedroom, and we put up a wall in the living room. Now it's a 6. We went to our other house in Poinciana. We added 2 rooms to that one.
So from 5, it went to 7.
Which isn't... I mean, it's not super expensive, but it is still money out of your pocket, especially when you don't have anybody living there. So the expenses start piling up, and we're like, we're going to add TVs and mini fridges and stuff that isn't really a necessity.
And we were testing the water, so we didn't want to put so much investment into it.
Makes sense.
Like furnishing all the rooms, because before we used to rent it without furniture, so people would bring their own.
And that was the other thing too. We did have to furnish all the rooms because all of our tenants had their own furniture. So we were putting a lot. We were already investing a lot, so we were a little hesitant to go all the way. Now looking back and seeing the power of PadSplit and how our occupancy rates are always high. It took a little bit to get there because we listed one house, we went through trial and error, we listed another house, go through more trial and error, really finding like the groove, the price point, really trying to find like, before we would just accept anyone who would book a room, and now it's like, okay, we really need to step back and think about like, are they going to be a good fit? Like if they were a previous PadSplit member, what was their rating score? We don't want someone that's going to move in and move out in a couple weeks.
Right.
So yeah,
I love hearing this, by the way.
Yeah.
The adjustment you guys are making to obviously now think operationally and to think how to better what you have,
right?
So that now you could keep longer. So love hearing that. Obviously, it's adjustments to the market and what's changing. Do you still do questions before they move in? Because I'm sure you guys have advanced screening set up. Not advanced screening, but final approval.
Yeah.
And then they obviously submit. You get to see a little bit about them, but do you ask them questions?
We don't.
I know you have sometimes, like when there's
depends.
I don't even want to say kind of like a red flag. Like I remember there was a tenant that we saw the history, and it was like every 2 weeks he's moving out to a new PadSplit. So then, and occasions like that, then we would ask certain questions to see, like, is a coincidence, like what exactly is happening. We don't want to deny to you because you might be a great fit, but we want to know, what's going on.
Right.
But no, I feel like usually we go with we look at what they're approved for.
That's big for me, and that's what we really have been the biggest reason why we would reject someone. Like if we're renting a room for $199 and they're approved for $210.
Too close.
I've seen like it's
a pattern.
It's been a pattern where those are the people that are always late or running behind or end up not paying.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll look at tenure, obviously like eviction, stuff like that. Everything, all the info that PadSplit gives us is super beneficial to make a decision. I think really for us it comes down to the approval amount is probably the biggest factor we'll look at someone.
You want like double, or what's the ideal?
I wouldn't say I just don't. I try to put myself in their shoes, and it's like if I'm approved for like $210 and I'm paying $199, like obviously like PadSplit isn't going to be like, okay, you make $210 a week. Like there's some other factors in there, but for me it's just cutting it too close.
Yeah.
And whenever it's that close, it's like
I'm not comfortable with that.
I'm not and that's someone that I'm feeling like, okay, like they're probably either gonna pay late or end up not paying, which we've had several of those people like move in, end up not paying at all, and it takes a bit before like they eventually move out. But yeah, as far as questions, we should.
What about exit then is the question. Do you ever ask, hey, how could this...
That would be the one question. Yeah.
Like what would have kept you longer in the property?
Oh, yeah.
And
that's a great idea.
Like feedback for you as an operator.
Yeah. Like why did they leave and why was the tenure not longer?
Yeah.
And then keep tally on, oh, well, you were just doing this for temporary stay?
Yeah.
Or was it that there was a feature that your property didn't necessarily have?
And that we could have granted you, for example.
So I think
we don't implement that, but we're
full,
just
full
brainstorming.
Yeah.
Like we're like, you should do this. But we
I know some people who do ask and proactively try to keep members in the properties.
Yeah.
And so we talk to a ton of hosts.
Yeah.
And that's how we're able to give advice because of the volume of people we work with.
Yeah.
And some stuff that some people utilize would be great for others. So to hear like, hey, we're trying to figure out what tenure problems we're having.
Yeah.
Then, okay, well, do you guys asking?
Yeah.
We don't. I think I
just did between all this thinking, like, what can we make better? Actually, let me go back real quick. We don't ask questions before they move in. And in my experience, I don't think it's worth it because we used to do personal interview. People show their best
You show
behavior.
up good for the interview. You're trying to impress.
They're gonna write exactly what you want to hear. So for me, I don't think I would consider that. I don't want to say it's a waste of time, but I feel like it might be.
Done that.
And I feel like I would go with, like you said, like the numbers, the rating from previous PadSplit properties and mates. But I did add it, and we just started doing this. So we want to be more welcoming, right? We want to make the moving experience more, memorable. So I'm doing like this gift baskets with like the most basic stuff, like literally like a toilet paper roll and like, you know, little things like a candy bar.
So
and
cute.
I printed a welcome package. Yeah. So in the welcome package, it has like a couple of pages, just kind of like instructions from the house and local places nearby, like food and whatever. And then I put, we love feedback. So if there's anything that could make your experience better, we would love to hear from you.
That's
so
awesome.
Again, it's something new. I'm not quite sure how much they would read out of that pamphlet, but it's something that we are trying to implement.
We're going to try it because that's the thing is like people don't read. Like I'm sure you guys know this. Like everything you need to know about PadSplit is on the PadSplit website. Yeah. However, people sign stuff, they move forward, they're excited to move in. Even I do it with stuff.
Yeah. So we're all guilty of it.
I'm not even like, I'm not going to blame every
the terms and conditions.
That's the thing. And we're just trying to maybe create something easy that they will look at and super simple. Like, okay, like maybe I did read it on PadSplit, but here's an additional, and it's the main stuff. Yeah. And because we have so many, most of our tickets are stuff that isn't our responsibility. And the tenant just didn't know.
Right.
Like, I think too many people look at it as a hotel stay and not this is my home. Mm-hmm. And it's like,
no, you're responsible for your toilet paper.
Exactly.
Right.
And
no, you got to buy your own hand soap.
And that's
I will not provide toothpaste.
Right, exactly. I'm sure you guys have heard and seen all of them. Yeah. But if we can kind of fill that gap in the communication from them not reading to us throwing it in their face.
I love that.
Is maybe if, I don't want to say lower their expectation because that sounds bad, but some realign people's expectations, because a lot of tenants that move in have that expectation of a hotel stay. And like, we have like a recent ticket that was like, oh, maintenance came over, but they didn't wipe the kitchen counters down. And we're like, what?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it shows that was their expectation when they moved in. Mm-hmm. Where they got that, I don't know.
And to your point, it's probably a lack of communication.
Yeah.
Even, or a lack of wanting to read.
Yeah. Right.
So I'm guilty myself. We go to an Airbnb. Yeah. They send us the longest email telling us
not gonna read that.
Everything. And guess what I look for? Wi-Fi password.
Yeah.
I'm here to look password Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Nothing else. I will not look. And I know how much time that host took to create that guide, that, you know, all those instructions so thoughtfully, so carefully catered towards the experience. But I don't I just need the Wi-Fi password.
Like,
so it's not that it doesn't work. I think it's such a good idea. Make it easy and digestible. Yeah. Don't make it 5 pages.
Exactly.
And something that could also be super helpful is maybe do more images instead of a lot of words. Yeah. Because we will look at those images.
Absolutely.
Over like 3 paragraphs that you're just like, oh crap, that's too much to read.
Right. Yeah.
Especially because we're so used to like scrolling and like all this interaction visually that maybe just like a photo could be super helpful.
Yeah.
I love that though. That member experience is everything. Yeah. You guys said it. We're here to do long-term tenure. Yeah. Like, I'm not here to grant like a weekly stay. Yes, granted you can. Yeah. But as an operator, that's not what I'm looking for.
Right.
I'm looking for you to find this your home. I'm looking for you to refer me your friends, so other people that you know in your circle can stay here, and you can be here a long time.
Right. Definitely.
And that's our that's our main goal.
And
like,
that's how you provide that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Creating the feeling of home.
Right.
So we are seeing tons of hosts at the TVs, at the mini fridges, at the desks.
Yeah. Those are the 3 that were like every room
needs to.
We're gonna rewind, and going forward, every room will have those 3, and it's not super expensive. It's not like it's breaking the pocket, but it could make all the difference.
Such a big difference.
Well, it's like, sorry, go for it.
I was gonna say, and then you think like, if the mini fridge was a difference, or a TV was the difference between someone staying an extra month or not, versus having it unoccupied for 2 weeks, you just paid for your mini fridge. You just paid for your TV.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to think in those terms is it makes it easier to just go spend. And being right now, well, we did have a move out scheduled this morning, but it's funny, like we were saying that earlier, every time we get 100% occupied, it's like someone schedules a move out. We're like, we can't enjoy this for like a day, can we? But that's our goal, is like we finally got 100% or 90 plus, and that's where we want to stay.
Correct. The goal is to stay there. I love it. You guys brought so much knowledge even to us, because you guys were doing this outside of it. So seeing you grow, seeing you expand has been an absolute pleasure for the both of us. We remember going out to dinner with you guys, and we just had such a good brainstorm session with each other. We're like, oh my God, how did you do this? What about this? Da, 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 da. So I know how much knowledge we both gained from each other.
Yeah, definitely.
I hope we didn't talk too much.
No,
we should have asked more questions.
No, we're here for you guys.
We're highlighting you guys. We want people to learn from your experiences.
We're here for you guys.
No, but definitely meeting you guys, it definitely made us go into a different path. And it's been great having you as, a contact, so we can go in and bother you a little, like, hey, what do you think about this?
What's going on? What are you doing?
But it really was helpful, because when you don't know, and having someone to reach out and ask certain questions and get some guidance and feeling more secure, because I see you guys are doing it. And for us, that was a pivot point, like having you guys and being able to pick your brain on that dinner and seeing it happen. And I'm like, if they're doing it, we can do it. And we just got to ask them, how are you guys doing this?
But you guys were already doing it.
Isn't that crazy? and first, like, I imagine how it's like for people that aren't doing it and who are just jumping in for the first time. Like, because we were already doing it and we were still nervous. I don't know. I guess it just goes back to the whole, like, you got to take action. You got to go for it. If it's not a risk, it's not going to have a reward, honestly. And just having people like you two in our side and building a great team behind us makes it so much easier.
It does.
It's reassuring.
It relaxes our mind a lot. It gets rid of a lot of, like, the what ifs.
I think for us, it was a similar story when he started working for PadSplit and he kept helping investors do it. He's like,
why not?
Babe.
Yeah.
What?
Making a lot of money.
Babe, we gotta do this.
It's funny.
I see it.
The same thing happened with me with selling shoes.
Joey is a phenomenal, successful sneaker seller. Curator, okay? He does an amazing. Just wanted to say that out there.
Yeah, thank you. I think I'm okay. There's a lot of people in the space that are doing it way better than I am. I'm just trying to get our piece. We do everything out of our garage. A lot of resellers have big old warehouses and huge teams, and
you have an awesome system.
You have
a great operation.
We try to keep it small. We try to keep expenses super low. I worked for Nike for 11 years. One of the biggest reasons I left was I was just over managing people. So to start my own thing and then hire more people that I just have to manage was I don't want to do that again. Even if financially I'd be way better off, I'm sure we could make a lot more money expanding and scaling and going bigger, but I like having it small. I like having it
controllable.
I like getting out of bed and walking to my office and going to work. Like, those are the things that I want, and we have a very flexible schedule. But the same thing you did is when I worked for Nike, the hamster wheel started spinning. It was like, I'm seeing all these people, like, I'm managing a Nike store making X amount of dollars, and I start doing the math and I start asking resellers who are coming in and they're buying 50, 100 pairs at a time. And I'm like, where are you selling this? Like, how much are you making off of that? And it's like, you start thinking, and you're like, I could easily 2, 3, 4x what I'm making here. Yep. Like 2x was easy for me. When we first started, we more than doubled my salary when I was working for Nike. We're a lot more than that now.
I love it.
Just still working off of a small scale thing, but I did the same thing. I was like, why aren't we doing this? Like, and it was honestly the job security made me stay for a lot longer than I should have.
Healthcare, those things, but also like.
But it's the same.
You know how many times I've used my fucking health,
right?
In the past, like 3 years,
don't
like
have
Jesus.
That's the thing. Is like small stuff like that will make you stay. Yeah. But the real reason is because you're afraid to take the step.
That's true. You're just masking it into something else. Absolutely.
Looking for excuses.
What do we pay? $300 a month for both of us for healthcare.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. That. Like, if that's what's making you stay at your job, like, it's not a reason.
It's an excuse.
And
correct.
For me, it was like, we finally got to a point where it's like, we have to bet on ourselves.
Yeah.
We have to just, no pun intended, just do it. Yeah. Like, we have to, like.
Pun intended.
Yeah. That's your second, just do it.
Yeah, I know.
Just go for it. You have to just go for it. But it's the same thing with investing in real estate. It's you just have to bet on yourself and not be afraid to make mistakes. Hopefully they're not detrimental and they shut down your whole operation, which the odds of that happening, I don't know. You guys probably know more than me. Maybe I'm a little naive, but I just don't see us, because I am betting on myself.
Right.
And I never saw us as, we're smart enough to know we can navigate through what we don't know,
right,
and take good partners,
right,
and go from there. And we've done it. And the best decision we ever made was me quitting my full-time job, and you too. You were a bartender working part to full time.
We all start from there.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, unless you're born in a wealthy family, but we also came from retail, both of us, and we started from, being sales associates, and we just went all the way up. Guys, what's next for you? What is your, exciting? What has you excited? What's your 5-year goal?
This is funny. I hate 5-year plans.
Okay.
Is it too far out?
It is too far out.
Okay.
That's why I'm doing the 12-week year now.
Okay.
So
what has you excited then?
We focus on our next. Yeah. What's next?
Okay.
Because I'm sure 5-year plans work for some people. And maybe I'm judging a lot of people, but I think what 5-year plans do is stop you from making true progress. Stop you from making progress faster than you're capable of.
Okay.
Because when you say 5 years, you're putting a lot of stuff into the future.
Far away.
That can be done now. You're giving yourself 5 years. When could it be done in 1 year?
Right.
And for us, it's also kind of the joy of life. And that's where we're at. Like, we're on this ride, and we don't want to, we want to ride the roller coaster. We don't want to look towards the end and what's coming up. And I know it's good to do that. And a lot of people say, plan. But for us, it's we have dreams. We want to get to 10 PadSplit houses. We want to get to where we...
But even putting a number sounds limiting. What if we get 20,
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
So, I think we should, and we do new things, and we like to switch. So I think we should get excited with our next project. And right now it is the closing that we just had. I'm excited to find all the deals, to get everything done.
What's now for us,
and
what is in the very near future is we're starting this rehab early next week. We're
Big
hoping
project.
to go live hopefully within about
July.
two and a half, probably 3 months. And after that, we're going to be looking into our next one. But for now, we're focused on this one. As far as personally, we set a goal this year to travel once every month. Which we're on pace.
I love it.
Is that domestically or internationally?
So far domestic.
She wants international.
Yes.
What's next month?
And
that's
it's so random.
Yeah.
I don't have it now. I don't have it yet. We were planning either Chicago, San Diego, or Las Vegas because we're taking the kids. So
fun.
Yeah. The kids kind of slowed us down in planning this one as fast or as spontaneous as we would other trips.
That's fun.
Usually we would just be like, next week, I'll be like, I found a deal. Next week we're going this place. And we just go so much easier. But with the kids, I got to plan more.
Right.
So it's looking like it's going to be Chicago. So we'll see. But also with this new rehab happening, I'm like,
you got to plan it.
Push it? Or I'm not sure. But definitely it's going to have.
We'll go somewhere, even if it's for a weekend.
Love it.
It's a promise
That's an awesome
we
plan.
made. Yeah, we've knocked out. What did we went to the Bahamas. We did Boston, Austin.
Isn't that crazy? Like you forget immediately.
Where were we just?
It's a
we
blur.
did
I love
cruise,
it.
Tennessee's,
Tennessee,
Austin, Boston. Where else did we go?
It'll come to you.
Oh, Detroit.
Detroit.
Yeah.
There it is. Forgettable.
Right.
Sorry. No, I'm kidding.
Have you
kidding.
been
I don't
to-
know. I don't know nothing about Detroit. I am
Okay.
kidding. I know nothing.
I was gonna say if you haven't been recently, you should definitely go.
I know nothing. No, I was just joking. Guys, how do we reach you? If you want to,
or what services do you guys provide, or how,
like,
okay, you're finishing my sentence. No, I'm kidding.
Go.
What services do you guys provide, or what businesses do you have that you'd like to obviously promote, and then how can people reach you?
So to reach me, I do go by Home Wish Real Estate on social media and my website, homewishrealestate.com. My phone number, 321-408-8145. And as you probably already heard, I love helping people. So I'm all up about, getting you to get your new home, whether it's for yourself or as an investment, or on the listing side of it. Because we've been getting so much into this PadSplit, and it's something I'm so excited about. And here's the thing about me, I cannot do something that I don't believe in. I will not sell a property that I don't believe in. Meaning, if I'm selling a property for a price that I don't believe is right, I'm just not gonna do it. So I'm passionate about PadSplit. So now I'm turning a little bit more into the investor side. So trying to make people invest into properties and rent them by the room. And again, knowledge is power. And I feel like there's a lot of people out there that they simply don't know. And my goal is to get them to know
There's
the
still so
opportunities.
many people that don't know.
Yeah, the opportunities that are out there, and all you need to know, all you need is information and guidance.
All you need is a Jen and a Joey.
Yeah, Orianna and Jay.
Yeah.
What areas do you cover as an agent?
I would say Central Florida, but mainly St. Cloud, Orlando, Kissimmee, Claremont, Davenport, just, kind of driving around.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that, Joey. Shameless plug.
I don't have any shameless plugs.
Love it.
I run an online business, but honestly, there's really not much to promote because I'm so far off of the customer service side.
Yeah.
I don't have a website or anything. But I'll do a non-shameless plug and something that I'm super passionate about. I'm not affiliated with this company in any way, but I do think that everybody should get a genetic test done. It literally has changed my life. 10X Health is a company that I went through and got so much information. And also here locally, Florida Center for Hormones and Wellness, shout out to them. working with their nutritionist, Johanna, and listening to 10X Health and following all their programs. It literally has changed my life. I struggled with anxiety and depression for so long, and I went to primary care physician after primary care physician, trying different antidepressants and trying all different kind of things that honestly just never worked. And I eventually hit rock bottom and ended up in emergency and Baker acted. And I didn't know where to turn until I started learning about your genes and how the smallest nutrient deficiencies can be all the difference in your mental and physical health. And it's been a complete game changer for me. Over the last year, I finally feel like myself again. I have more energy than I've ever had. I say it almost every day, got to bring elite energy today, versus before it was me laying in bed feeling down and depressed every day.
Right.
But for anyone who is feeling the same way, who's feeling like they're not getting any answers, who's feeling like I know something is wrong with me, but my doctors are telling me everything's fine and it's just anxiety, there's probably something in your genes that is off, that can easily be fixed with a simple vitamin. And I found mine and Jen found hers. And it's been a complete game changer. For anyone who would have questions about any of that, I'm not really on social media a ton, but
Jen will put you in contact or through us.
Anyone who does want to reach out, mostly just Instagram, at 1J, 2 O's, 4 E's, and 6 Y's.
Joey, thank you for that. That was powerful.
Yeah, of course.
That was super powerful. I thank you for sharing that. Yeah. So much value in that. Guys, thank you for being here.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting
This was so fun.
It was.
We can't wait to come back on.
Yeah.
We will. Can technically do like small video shoots or just, it won't be technically podcast, but we could definitely sit and chat. Investments and other stuff. So,
and podcasts or no podcasts, we got to do this more.
Yes,
for sure.
God, yes.
Oh, 100%.
I agree.
I know we're so busy and you guys are so busy, but we'll find time.
We will make time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Thanks for tuning into the Co-Living with PadSplit podcast hosted by Ray and Orianna Nunez. For more exclusive content and community updates, join our Facebook group and follow us on all social media platforms. Stay tuned for more episodes.